Hello and welcome to another edition of the FPL 6 Picks contest, where every game week myself and FPL Lens go head to head and run through our top picks across 6 distinct categories, backed up with stats, fixture analysis and tweets from the FPL community. Anyone can take part by entering their own 6 picks via the link in the video description before the game week deadline. The FPL points scored by your 6 picks equals your total score. And best of all, we are offering up a $10 Bitcoin prize to the game week winner. Join us both every week as we chat about everything FPL related, and we want to hear from you, so please don't hesitate to drop a comment if you have any questions, concerns, or decisions to make with your own FPL teams. Alright, welcome to the Game Week 12 launch of the 6 Picks contest. And before we go any further, let's take a look at who won from Game Week 11. So it looks like I've just edged in front of you, Gabriel. 50 points to 46.
You know what it is?
I do know what it is. It's the captaincy.
Right?
You had the right players. You just didn't have them in the right categories, if you think about it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's all the difference.
Very close, 4 points in it. It all boils down to the reversal of the premium and captaincy categories. So I opted for De Bruyne, 28 points. You opted for Jamie Vardy. Really, really tight. It really does kind of emphasize how important that captaincy pick is, though, in this contest. Right.
In all FPL, right?
Well, absolutely. It can make or break your game week in every case. So it's one of those.
The one thing, what I love about this is that McBurney scored. I think that for me makes the game week a success.
100% agree. Yes. Because I slated you for your McBurney pick in the last video. And I'd say you were jumping for joy when he scored. Yeah, well, you know what? It's good because you should stick to your guns and your instincts. And obviously, McBurney had his opportunities in the past, and you decided to gamble with them, and it paid off. I was happy with the Richarlison assist, but more importantly, I was happy with his bonus points. He edged just in front of DCL there in the scoring, and I think that a lot of my victory can be just pointed towards that captaincy. I had a couple of 1-pointers in there. Cavani was a disappointment. Didn't get his game time really taken off at halftime, I saw. And then Lamptey just didn't work out from 1 point. So, yeah, onwards and upwards, buddy. This is our fourth contest. 2-1 to me. You took the opener, and I've bounced back. Should have been a bounce back ability. 2-1. And let's see where the rest takes us. So if anybody's never played this before, if you're new to the channel, this is a game week by game week contest. We go through 6 distinct categories and choose an FPL player in each category, and the points they score equals our total score for the week. You can enter below. There's a link in the description. We are also going to open up entry to the comment section in YouTube and to anybody who replies to our tweet that launches the contest too, because I think it's a little bit of a barrier. People, not as many people are kind of entering as last year, and maybe that's down to the fact that it's just more difficult to go through a Google form. So guys, if you just want to enter, you can stick a comment in either with your entries. Just make sure that everything's correct in terms of prices and ownership, so we can confirm everything quickly. Right, premium pick is the first category. In this one, you can choose either a goalkeeper or a defender costing 5.5 or more, or you can go for a midfielder or forward costing 8.0 or more. 1 player pick per club team, as always. Revealing who we've gone for this week: Bruno Fernandes on my side and Sadio Mane on Gabriel's side. And there's very good arguments for both. But one thing I'll note about Mane is I think there's been a leaked Liverpool lineup, and Salah starts tonight. Mane doesn't. So that's an interesting one in the Champions League dead rubber game. So Mane's definitely nailed to play this weekend if it was ever in doubt against
surprising Salah starts though.
Very surprising. A game that really has no significance, and Salah starts. I think Fabinho starts the defense too. So let's see what happens. Maybe it'll be taken off at halftime. Whenever you guys are watching this video, I'm sure you'll have more up-to-date information on that one. So Sadio Mane, what's bringing you there?
So Sadio Mane, this is kind of piggybacking on a call that I made for last game week that kind of drew much attention because of the rush to bring in Mahrez, and then just looking at the matchup. If we look at the chances conceded from Fulham, this is my tweet from last week. The chances conceded that they've converted have come from Mane's side. So now, just to be clear, I'm not saying that Salah is going to be a periphery pick or a periphery player in this game. If he plays, he will obviously be the star, as per usual for this team. But I just see more susceptibility from Fulham on Mane's side because of the defenders. The left-sided center back, and I don't remember his name right now. It's a long name, starts with an A, and it's not Adebayor, but it's Ade something. He's just a better defender than the right-sided center back, and I think I haven't watched enough Fulham to really make a full determination, but I think that's the reason for it. But either way, I just like the higher XG or the more successful chances opening up on Sadio Mane's side. And he's a bit of a differential. I thought that maybe you wouldn't go for Sadio Mane, and I'm ready to kind of like even the playing field, get started again, and then just take the lead like I did at the beginning of our contest here.
Yeah, well, 9.4% team selected by. It's, you know what? That's kind of clouded a little bit. I saw that he had a goal, which was not a goal. It turned into a fantasy assist. It was the own goal at the end of the 4-0 Wolves game, and it does take a significant haul to maybe move those ownerships way up game week by game week. 9.4% is definitely under the radar right now for Sadio Mane, and the fixtures look pretty good for Liverpool. Well, Fulham away essentially is what you're playing for here, game week 12. I've gone for Fernandes, and it's definitely one of those form over fixture picks, as you can see. Evidently, game week 12 brings Man City to Old Trafford, and came on for the second half, a very surprising benching Bruno Fernandes in game week 11. I was really shocked not to see him. A lot of people had him as a captain as well, and would have been brutally disappointed not to see him start that game. But 8 chances created in the second half in game week 11, and 2 big chances resulting in that 1 assist. He really is like the central cog, the engine in that Man United midfield, and at 41% team selected by, obviously we all seem to be on the same train of thought there. So 10.9 million, he's a very much a premium pick who's not under the radar like Sadio Mane, but I'm going to lock him in as my premium pick for game week 12.
One thing I love the Bruno Fernandes pick, one because it's brave given the opposition. Right, he's Manchester City. I think in most defensive stats have had the second best defense in the league, second to Chelsea. But they have a weakness, and the chink in the armor, that Achilles heel, is right at the top of the box, right between the defensive midfielders, so like Dino and Rodri, and the 2 center backs. That's where their weakness is, and that's where Bruno loves to do damage from. So I think that's a really good pick. Yeah,
he's floating around that area. Now the question is, What way is Ole going to set up for this game? Is it going to be a diamond? Is it going to be the regular 1 and 3 behind with Bruno in that little pocket of space? It's hard to know. He's been chopping and changing recently. And I think that this game could have a large, if you say it a lot, but I think this game could have a large impact on his job security. He may fear a large defeat, and that may change things a little bit, but we'll see what happens. I'm happy to punt with him. Well, it's never a punt. It's Bruno Fernandes. He's one of the top scoring midfielders in FPL, and one of the best at that too. Let's move on to the differential. In this category, you can choose a player whose ownership, team selected by percentage, is under 10% at time of entry. Let's see who we went for. Okay, Jared Bowen and Christian Pulisic. I have a feeling that Christian Pulisic you have a soft spot for this guy based on his nationality and roots. Would I be right in saying that?
Actually, not based on his nationality. Well, I guess maybe a little bit, because there are so few U.S.-born players that show this kind of potential at the highest levels.
Yeah.
So when there is one, and they had like Landon Donovan, for example, was a big U.S.
Super
star.
player.
He's a great player, but he would always look for the small pond. He could, and Pulisic is the opposite. Pulisic is really, Dortmund, Chelsea. He's trying to get really, and Donovan was, happy Everton. He could have gone further. He decided to stay. Then he came to MLS. He got invites to go back to Germany, and he said no, and he stayed in MLS. So I appreciate Christian Pulisic because of his he puts himself out there, and challenges himself. And what I like. Well, yeah, I guess I'm rolling into the
get into it. Yeah, let's do it.
What I like about Pulisic is that he's so selfish that the loss of Ziyech, I think, really affects everyone else on the team much more than Pulisic. Ziyech, his creativity and his distribution will affect Timo Werner, will affect Tammy Abraham, will affect Giroud in the box there. But Pulisic, he kind of relies on himself. He relies on other people to create space, but then he just drives into the box with that ball. And when he's kind of what the team need most in that moment, he really steps up. So that's why I like him, because of his selfishness and his lack of reliance on the creative players around him.
Yeah, I love Christian Pulisic. He's a joy to watch, and like that greed is just a fantastic characteristic to have in an FPL asset that's in your team. Mm-hmm. Everton away too, like not a sturdy defense by any means right now. Opportunities will prevail. I just be a little bit concerned about his minutes. I don't know if he's going to get a full 90. He may get you past the 60 mark with return, and I guess that's all you want from a differential pick. So it could be good to go 2
points. Is also out.
That's right. Hudson-Odoi is also out. So you've got Ziyech, Hudson-Odoi missing, and Werner's probably going to play on the left. And Werner could play up front, I guess, with Giroud or Tammy dropping off, and then have Pulisic on the left. It's hard to know, but I think they will fit him in. They'll have to. They're a little bit short, so that's fair. Well, my Jared Bowen pick, I mean, he's not a player that many people have owned. He has been highlighted before the past for performances this season. He's done well. He's had 2 double-digit holds already, 2.6%, small percentage. Now, the fixtures aren't great for West Ham going forward. They've had their kind run already. But Jared Bowen, I have to say, I haven't watched much football from the game week just gone by because I was in commuting. I was just traveling. So I've seen a bit of highlights. A lot of my picks this week are based on stats pulled from this current game week from fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. And one thing that caught my eye was Jared Bowen. He had 5 goal attempts and missed 1 big chance. In game week 11, he was 3rd amongst mids for penalty area touches with 8. And he was very much involved and unlucky not to register. He got 13 FPL points in game week 10, and no one expected him to post these stats against Man United in the game week just gone by. And I've just shared a shots map from the previous game week showing his goal attempts, none of which were on target, but more zoning in on the fact that they were all inside. 4 of them were inside the box. What that big chance, as you can see, was inside the 6-yard box. Was a poor miss. Next up is Leeds, and in the previous game week, they conceded 19 shots inside the box. So that is looking good for Jared Bowen to register some returns, hopefully, if the stats translate into points.
Jared Bowen, I've watched him the past several game weeks, and he's finding some really nice form. I'm noticing a theme in your picks here, like just players really hitting some form here. So that's an unexpected pick, and I like it now that I see those numbers, especially Leeds shots conceded inside the box.
Yeah, it's staggering, isn't it? That was a shock to me.
Yeah.
But as I said, I haven't seen much of the action. I've only seen highlights. Usually I try and get like good 90 minutes of maybe every second game in, and then watch a good chunk of highlights, extended highlights at least for the rest. So yeah, it's based that the stat hit me, and that's why I'm gonna go with Jared Bowen. Now, differential pick, I mean, it's all about low ownership. It's still if you want to play hardball in this game, we should be looking at differential players in the big teams, the big hitters like Man City, United, Chelsea, or Liverpool, because you can find them. But West Ham, bit of a chance on this one. We'll see what happens. Let's move on to budget defense. In this category, you can choose a goalkeeper costing less than 5.5, or you could go for a defender costing less than 5.5 at time of entry. Revealing who we've gone for. Two, reliable. Well, mine's reliable. James Justin. Eric Dyer's turned into a reliable pick too. 3.4%. Great differential too. Could go into that category, and 5 million. James Justin's gone up from 4.5 to 4.9 since the start of the season. More down to the fact that the fullbacks for Leicester have been missing. Pereira, long-term injury, and Castagna missing for a good chunk too. I'll go first on James Justin. I mean, again, based on the game week just gone by, 5 penalty area touches, 1 goal attempt inside the box. He's established himself as one of the better fullbacks in the Premier League this season. And he also has that versatility going for him. I've seen him slot into the back three on some occasions based on the injury woes in defence for Leicester. And now that Soyuncu's out for a while, I don't think he's going to be forced out of the starting 11, whether that's in a role in the back three or it's playing as a wing back. So I'm happy to go for him again. Brighton at home next. Brighton are a good team. It's going to be Lamptey versus Justin. Lamptey was my pick last game week. I was tempted to punt for him again this week, but I'm going to vary it up a bit and try out James Justin again. Let's hear about Eric Dyer. What do you think of Eric Dyer's recent performances?
I mean, Eric Dyer is a player I will never own in fantasy. I don't rate him as a player, or I don't like the little I know of him as a person. I don't like the team. I don't like the manager. So those are all the things I don't like about Eric Dyer, just to get that out of the way. But you can't argue with results. And Spurs have kept, 5 clean sheets in the last 6 matches. 2 of those against City and Chelsea. And, up against Palace, who had a good outing against West Brom with Zaha back. I just think Eric Dyer will have, it is away, but I think, Mourinho has been setting up his team, that they've been so well organized, so stout at the back, that I don't see Palace scoring in this one. Unexciting pick, but no really attacking threat. But I just see a clean sheet, almost nailed for Spurs for this game. So that's why I've gone. It's just pure production, what he's done recently.
Yeah, it is interesting to note as well. If you look at that chain of clean sheets from game week 8 onwards, 3 out of their 5 clean sheets this season have come against the most difficult of opposition: Man City home, Chelsea away. Okay, Arsenal at home, you can argue, aren't the best right now. But yeah, it's a reflection of Jose Mourinho tactics and the way he approaches those big games. And it's worked for him. Tottenham haven't had a huge bulk of opportunity in the last few game weeks, but they've home and sun, they've been really, really effective of scoring their chances and getting ahead in games, and that bodes well then for the defensive assets. If you get an early goal, Jose Mourinho tends to shut it up a little bit and not take any unnecessary risk, so there's a good chance of those clean sheet points coming in. I like the pick, I have to say. Will we move on to budget offense? Let's do it. Okay, so in this category, midfielder costing less than 8 million or a forward costing less than 8 million. And you got to choose 1 player pick per club team. Let's reveal who we've gone for. So I've definitely honed in on the previous game week with my pick, Wilf Zaha, arguably the player of the game week. Patrick Bamford then, who, wow, he's just, I don't know. I don't own him yet, but I feel like I'm going to have to own him in FPL. Just by the way, he's just an assured starter, incredible price range, and bulk opportunities every game week. Seems to be Bielsa's favorite boy.
Seems to be like the entire team's kind of little good luck charm or something. Because he's kind of transformed his reputation this season. I just need to comment on the Zaha pick. Whereas last week it was kind of a battle of captain versus premium. This week it'll be a battle of Zaha versus Dyer, maybe. So
wow, that's right. Again, we have it. Yeah, well spotted.
Again, you're going on form.
Yeah,
it's the theme of your picks this week is that form, and Zaha came out firing last week. So
he really did. Yeah,
he did.
Yeah. Well, he was top for penalty area touches with 12 amongst midfielders. Top for goal attempts with 6. Resulting in 2 goals, 1 assist, and crucially 18 FPL points. I think he was the highest scorer in the game week, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think he was. Yeah. And I've actually just shared a tweet there that I spotted from @unknownbal. And it's really the Eze effect that I want to highlight here, because I feel like Eze has taken away some of the creative burden from Zaha that the team has solely relied on him a lot in recent seasons. And if you can see just there, 4 played together. Eze have started 4 games together this season with Wilfried Zaha. 4 played, 2 wins, 10 goals scored, 40 shots, and 6 goal and assists between them in those games, which is showing good combination and great signs for Crystal Palace going forward. They especially, Zaha might be putting himself on the market for a transfer in December. You never know with this guy. The new transfer window's coming up in January. But if they can hold on to him, then I think that the attacking output will deem more effective for Crystal Palace this season. 17% ownership as well. A lot of that down to the fact that he had COVID and was missing for several game weeks. And I can see that steadily rising if he gets another haul this game week. What do you think of Zaha?
So yeah, I think Zaha. I love this tweet from Unknown Ball because in the past Zaha has had to provide the width on that left side and provide the kind of the creativity and attacking threat on the front line, and he couldn't do both because you can't be in 2 places at once, right? But now with Eze providing that width and penetration from the wing, Zaha has just more freedom to create, to get in the box, to create chances for himself. So they're combining really well on that left-hand side because Eze has taken some of that width responsibility from Zaha. So I think it's actually a really good pick, especially if Aurier plays on at right back for Spurs.
Yeah,
we know he's prone to a mistake. We know he's prone to maybe a foul inside the box. So I think that's an astute pick, despite the seemingly tough matchup.
Yeah, it's the matchup that's tough, 100%. But yeah, good spot as well with Aurier. He tends to like to give away silly penalties. And Zaha, I think Crystal Palace had the most penalties last season, with Milivojevic, the converter, so you never know. He might get an assist, a fantasy assist that way too. Plenty of routes for points for Wilfried Zaha, for sure. You want to talk about Bamford? I mean, what could be said? He's top for everything.
He's top for everything. The stats say it all. I mean, it's not. This isn't a Pookie situation, right? It's not that your first 2 game weeks he's leading in all the stats. We're at game week 12, and Patrick Bamford in these very key stats: first, second, third, and fourth. It's at a certain point you have to kind of change your perspective of Patrick Bamford, and I have this week I've brought him into my FPL team. I brought him in a week sooner than I wanted to because he's going up in price, and for price reasons I had to do that, but I'm happy to have him in there. I think he's just going to keep plugging away because Bielsa's teams are consistent. We know what they do. And so yeah, just those stats, just it was kind of an easy pick for me. And then not to mention the matchup. West Ham started out the season with a quite stout defense, but they've been a little more susceptible recently. So I kind of like this matchup for Leeds at home. So yeah, Patrick Bamford. Haven't had him all season. Have him in my FPL team and in my 6 picks contest team. That like doubling down on Patrick Bamford for this week.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, I can't argue with that. I think I know that West Ham at home, obviously, West Ham, as you said, have been sturdier at the back. Newcastle home game week 13, and then United away in game week 14. Beyond that, I don't have the fixtures in front of me, but FDR greens for Leeds right up until game week 17. So I think that it looks like a good time to bring in Bamford. And as you said, the Pookie effect last season, the stats weren't matching his returns, but in Bamford's case, it's the opposite. He is getting a plethora of opportunities every game, but he's maybe not putting away enough. So yeah, it looks good when the fixtures ease for him.
And he's obviously very highly owned, 37% owned, and he may be 6.2 right now. Still an incredible value at 6.2.
Oh yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Especially if he's matching the output of your premiums, like your Timo Werners or at 9.5. Those guys aren't just, if they're not producing, it's an easy decision to drop down to someone like Bamford and place those funds elsewhere in your FPL team, in my opinion. Okay, we're going to pause and I'm going to reveal the winner for game week 11, the 6 picks contest. And that person was the Rooster Booster 1. It was an entry through the form in the YouTube description. This guy is actually a good friend of the show, Dave Paxton, regular entry over the last few seasons. 65 points scored. I'll go through it real quickly. Bruno Premium got 6 points, got his assist. Reguilon, who was a very clever pick, to be honest. I would have went for him myself. 6 points in the differential category. Reece James then got his assist for 5 points. Calvert-Lewin, 6 points for budget offense. Gut feeling then. Okay, we can argue is Mo Salah gut feeling or not, but still he went from 14 points, scored, and then the all-important captaincy on KDB. So a very obvious set of picks there. But look, it worked out. That's a tactic you can use. It could be hit and miss. And 65 points. Congratulations, Dave. That was great. We're going to send you $10 worth of Bitcoin. So well done, mate.
Inspired picks there. Imagine getting, it's a 6 picks, 65 points. Imagine getting 11 points per player in your FPL team.
Wow, you'd be well on your way to a ton. Yeah, 100 plus point game week. So congratulations, mate, and we look forward to see who you go for this week. Moving on then, 2 categories left. We have gut feeling next, my favorite one. 1 player pick per club team. No restrictions here. You can choose anybody you feel is going to haul this week and try and be adventurous. And I'm saying adventurous, but I'm about to reveal someone quite obvious. So gut feeling. Okay, I've gone for Timo. It's Timo time. It has to eventually be Timo time. And you've gone for Aubameyang, a second pop at Aubameyang. My goodness. I had Aubameyang in our opener contest in game week 9, I believe. And I like the fact that you're going in for seconds in the gut feeling category.
The gut feeling is that basically we're both going for players that it has to be time for you to score, man. It's it just has to be for Timo and Pierre-Emerick. So,
yeah, I mean, that's right. I'll go into a little bit of detail with Timo.
Into my favorite category as well. It's fun.
Yeah, it is because you can. There's no arguments against or for. You can just do what you want here. So with Timo, I'll just go in for a little more on his dire performance, I suppose, in game week 11. I've shared the XG achievers, underachievers table from Fantasy Football Scout.co.uk for game week 11. And as you can see, his XG delta, so his expected goals was 1.41. And as we all know, he blanked. And he also had an XGI, expected goal involvement, of 1.93, the biggest underachiever of the game week. He did manage an assist for the Pulisic goal in injury time, but it was like 5 goal attempts, 4 inside the box, 2 big chances missed, 3 chances created, and it all culminated in that massive XGI. Still got an assist in the end, but really not producing the type of points you would expect from a 9.5 million premium forward in FPL.
He's quite highly owned as well for a player that's not producing to the way he should be.
Yeah, you're right.
You've seen that I showed my son the image of the moment Timo Werner missed that chance, which he was rolling on the ground for 5 minutes just laughing.
He does have a tendency to do that. He does miss glorious opportunities, and then he also relies on sheer volume of chances, which he'll get. He'll get that with Chelsea in the same way that Bamford's getting that with Leeds. And he will eventually haul, but maybe not when we expect him to, which we can start labeling him a troll very soon if that's the case. So Timo Werner and Aubameyang, that's an exciting matchup as well. I can't predict that. Burnley at home for Aubameyang, Everton away for Werner. So Aubameyang probably edges the fixture, but Arsenal just can't score for love nor money at the moment. It's a little bit depressing for Arteta and all their supporters. Right, we'll move on to the final.
For FPL as well. We're so used to having Arsenal attacking assets or like at least options. It's just a wasteland a little bit.
Well, that's it. Like we had some debate at the start of the season, like the exciting kind of enablers like Eddie Nketiah coming in there, and then we had Willian in the opening game week who looked like he's going to be an absolutely super price and like a great player for assists and goals, but no, nothing's happened. It's just they've been dead. But maybe it takes a game or fixture like Burnley at home to ignite them and see them rack up a few goals. A tough test, but you never know. These things. It worked for City. It absolutely did. Captaincy is next, and this is the most important category of all. Double points as per regular FPL, and of course the one player pick per club team. Revealing who we've gone for two reliables, Mo Salah and Kevin De Bruyne. 12.3 million for Mo Salah, 33% ownership. Now, I did say at the top of the show that I've chosen a lot of my picks based on the statistics for the previous game week. And to be honest, Salah had a quieter day on the stats front. I mean, he only had 3 goal attempts and 3 touches inside the box, which is way, way below his usual returns in terms of the stats. But he still ended up with his second biggest score in terms of FPL points of the season with 14, and delighted many owners and a few people who were brave enough to captain. So I like the fixture Fulham away. I feel like he's got the confidence now. There is the whole issue with him starting in the Champions League, which gives Mane a little bit of an edge. There is going to be some rotation with Jurgen Klopp and a midweek fixture coming up. So that could turn a lot of people away from Mo Salah for the captaincy. I still think he'll start. And Fulham haven't been, they've been doing quite well recently. They only conceded 2 goals to Man City, and they've shored up things at the back. So I don't think it's going to be a huge onslaught in terms of goals. But I feel like Mo Salah can return this week. De Bruyne.
So Mo Salah, I had initially picked Mo Salah, and I had bookended it with my premium pick was Sterling. And what I did is I switched them around, and I went Mane as my premium and De Bruyne as my captaincy, but I didn't change the image that I sent you. So I sent you an image which kind of backs your pick.
Oh, really? Fantastic! Thanks.
So last week I sent out a tweet saying how Mahrez was a bad tactical decision for City against Fulham, because Fulham don't really concede many chances from kind of that top of the left side of their box, which is where Mahrez cuts inside and shoots. So I included this for you to back your pick now, showing how Salah is different than Mahrez. Yeah. So maybe I'm trying to do like a reverse jinx or something like that. If I support you, then the luck will go my way or something. Well,
you were on the money with your Mahrez prediction last game week as a bad tactical decision, because it kind of was. Now, he did create a lot of chances. I think he created 3 big chances and ended up in the bonus points. He ended up with 1 bonus point. One return would have seen him top that too. So and there was clean sheets on the table as well. So he did very well to sneak in a bonus point without a return. So interesting.
He did.
And to know
what Mahrez did was he dropped deeper. So he dropped deeper to create the chances from just ahead of the center circle, instead of hanging around at the top of the box, because he wasn't getting having any success there. So he dropped, and I have to say I was super impressed with Mahrez and his kind of ability to recognize that, and with Pep allowing him to do that, because Pep is usually pretty rigid for he wants his wingers to stay high and wide. So for him to see that it wasn't working for Mahrez high and wide, to drop him in like that to create those chances, I thought was really quite astute and genius of him. But to talk about Kevin De Bruyne. So Kevin De Bruyne has a tricky matchup against United this weekend.
Yeah. But
United have a weakness, and that's very much in the defensive mid area. And we've seen, I mean, Scott McTominay has done a decent job from it at times there this season, certainly last season as well. Fred, I'm not a Fred fan. He has had his couple of moments, I guess. But Fred, I think, is a huge liability. Obviously, Pogba's a non-factor. So just that space at the top of the box is United are allowing a lot of chances to be created there. They are also allowing kind of like chances to be created on the inside their box on the right side. So I expect actually De Bruyne to slip Sterling and in behind Wan-Bissaka, who's having a bit of a difficult season this season. I know he's a fan favorite and all of that, but he's struggling, and the reasons he's struggling may not be entirely because of him. He has Lindelof to contend with. He's been asked to attack, and he's not a very good crosser of the ball, so he has to recover as well. But I'd like there to be a penalty in this game. Both these teams have conceded, and this goes to your Bruno pick. Yeah. Both these teams have conceded the most penalties in the last 4 game weeks, I think, which is 4. Each of them have conceded, or is it the season? I don't remember what the time frame is, but they've each conceded 4. So I like Kevin De Bruyne to get a penalty and an assist, a double return here. So that's why I kind of went with him. And I also missed out on captaining him last week, both in FPL and in 6 picks. So I wanted to correct that mistake this week.
Yeah, I mean, like in the 6 picks last week, I definitely thought he was the best captain. Unfortunately, I could not work him into my own FPL team, and I had to go for Mahrez as a second-rated captaincy option. Didn't work out for me in that occasion. I think Kevin De Bruyne 100% is the player to own for Manchester City, especially that he is playing in that advanced central role now. That like in times gone by, you'd see him drop back into the 3 behind, as opposed to playing just in the hole there. So I think right now he looks destined to return in every game he plays in. And didn't he hit the woodwork? He could have mega holed last game week. It was big time, like eye test from what I saw anyway. Eye test passing. So yeah, I love Kevin De Bruyne. I hope it doesn't work out for you because I'm a Man United supporter, obvious reasons. And I'm going to stick by. It really is. It's on a knife edge this week, Gabriel. What do you think? Let's have a look at the summary. So premiums, yeah, it really is interesting matchups everywhere. From captaincy to gut feeling, Werner against Aubameyang, and then we have the Zaha budget defense versus my budget offense. Dyer against Zaha.
A direct matchup.
It is. It's going to be fun. Anybody out there has never played before, it's free to enter. $10 of Bitcoin for the winner. You can enter in the comment section of YouTube here. You can enter by replying to our contest launching tweet later on. And you can follow us on at FPL Crypto or at FPL Lens. And we look forward to chatting to you guys, engaging with you guys on the FPL community on Twitter. And we look forward to seeing who you guys go for this week.
I think this week it might be easier to pick a winning team than it is to pick who wins between us two. I think it's so close. Like I'm looking at these teams, I have no idea.
Absolutely. And do we have any crossover picks? No. We are all independent.
Independent this week. I like it.
Yeah. All to play for. I loved your Pulisic pick, by the way. I was thinking of doing Pulisic in the gut feeling category to be a little bit more gut feel as opposed to a stats enabled pick on Werner. So yeah, let's see what happens here, buddy. It'll be fun. Midweek, there's a Friday deadline this week, so you have until that deadline to enter your picks, and we will hopefully squeeze a video in before the next game week, which is a midweek round of fixtures, which is always a little bonus in FPL to have some Premier League action on a Tuesday
It
or
feels
Wednesday
like
night.
Christmas is coming, right?
It really is coming. And you know what's coming as well? Rotation. Lots of it. So yeah, we could fear it and enjoy it at the same time. Let's see what happens. We're in the lap of the FPL gods. All right, buddy. I'll catch you next week.
All right. Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Take care.